Welcome to Write for Joy. I'm Allie Cross. I'm an author and happiness enthusiast. I've chased joy my whole life until one day I realized I already had it. Joy is all around us, so let's see if we can grab some of it for ourselves today. I'm Allie Cross, and this is Write for Joy. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Write for Joy. Today I'm joined by Susan Phelan, who is an author of middle grade contemporary. I was going to say fantasy. Fantasy is like rolls off the tongue for me, but she is a contemporary middle grade author, and she's been published with Chicken Scratch Books. And something that Susan and I, she doesn't know this yet, have in common is that when she was a child, when she was 10, so just imagine that, she held a backyard carnival to raise money for Jerry Lewis kids. If you're younger and listening to this, you will not know what we're talking about. But Jerry Lewis was an amazing comedian, and he had this sort of serious side where once a year he would do, they used to be super popular, but like these call-in TV shows where you could raise.
And it was a variety show. So we'd have a variety show, and then the people calling in and making their donations and their pledges. And yeah.
Jerry would have awesome guests and do a really amazing show. Anyways, Susan had a carnival in her backyard to raise money for Jerry's kids. And I just love that. I never raised any money, but I was totally the one who was organizing Shakespearean plays and the like in my backyard. Where I would star and direct, of course. But I think it's funny. I was totally ready for her to tell me in her bio thing that she'd raised this amazing amount. She made $30, which was probably like when you're 10 in the 70s. That would probably felt like
pretty proud.
Right? You probably felt like you had a giant accomplishment. So, sadly, though, she did not continue doing carnivals. They just go on in her head, like most of us writers. But she did go on to be a performer. She did not write this in her bio at all. But Susan is an actress as well as a writer. And so I'm excited to learn more about her and about how her experiences in life and with her writing have influenced who she is and how she feels about joy. She is a mom, and she lives in Utah. And let's see, what else can I say about you? She is awesome. So let me turn some time over to her so she can fill in the gaps for us.
Oh, thank you, Allie. A lot of gaps in there, but I don't think everyone wants to hear my life story, so I'll just fill in a few. So Misclassified is a contemporary novel, and I got the idea actually from my own kids, 3 of whom were diagnosed with ADHD, one of whom was very bright and hid it until she hit junior high. And then boom, everything fell apart. So when Bly hits junior high, boom, she's been very bright. And all of a sudden her whole world as far as school goes has fallen apart, and she's trying to hide it whatever way she can. And at the same time join a photography contest because that's her new love. Mm-hmm. So it's got some serious topics, good, like deep family conversations and judgment and learning how to judge yourself without, with still loving yourself with your weaknesses. But then it's also got some humor in it. I think just about everything I write has kind of a soft humor. Mm-hmm. not like a Captain Underpants, which is great for those who like Captain Underpants. It's just not what I write. So, and then I'm working right now on a screenplay that's been requested, and it's a Christmas romance
Oh,
with
that's a
horses, because
change.
that's my background too, is horses.
Uh-huh.
And I hope that if I get it, get a producer to pick it up, that I actually get to be in it too.
Oh, fun. That's exciting. I was wondering what you were going to follow up with, because Misclassified has not been out terribly long, has it? Like a year
A
or?
little under a year.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. So I wasn't expecting anything to be out yet new from you, but I didn't know what you were doing. I do know that you write with my friend Anne every Monday. So I know you're writing. It's nice to hear what you're doing. And I think it's amazing you're working on a script, because that seems very much in your wheelhouse as an actress. And I'm not at all surprised that it would have some humor and everything in it, because that's how you are. You have this little soft humor. I could just totally see it. I bet it's going to be wonderful. I hope it gets picked up.
Thank
And
you.
links to Misclassified and everything else that has to do with Susan will be in the show notes. So I encourage everybody to go and check out her works. As a child ADHD person who was, of course, not recognized in this, nobody was talking about girls with ADHD in the 70s and 80s. And so I was thinking about my experience as you were talking, and just how strange and weird it was, because you didn't know and nobody knew. And we did hide it. We just learned to cope and deal. So I'm excited for this book. I think I should read it. I think it would probably be good for the little girl inside of me to sort of see it from a different perspective.
One of my coping mechanisms, tears came really easily to me. So when I would be late with an assignment, I'd talk to the teacher and I'm sorry, I had blah, blah, blah. And the tears would just come. And I guess it was real enough that I was able to get several extensions.
See, the actress was born out of necessity. I know. I used to, lying is kind of a hallmark of ADHD.
Mhm.
It's one of the things. There's so many things that sort of are common for ADHDers, but lying, or like, it never felt like lying to me. It just came out like suddenly I had excuses and stories to tell to get me out of things. And it got so bad that at some point I wondered, like, I thought there was something terrible, like, not wrong with me as in, oh, I have an illness, whatever, but wrong with me morally and as like a good person, because sometimes stories would come out without me, like, even in situations that it was not required of me to tell a story, but I would do it. And but I do definitely remember doing that with teachers and everything.
One of my Bly, the first chapter of Bly, she's giving a funeral for a lizard. And
Okay.
she's leading her siblings out to do this funeral. Well, then when she has to give an excuse for why she doesn't have her math homework, she tells her teacher that her brother died. It was that she went to her brother's funeral.
Uh-huh.
And it just like comes out, and then she's like, oh, what do I do?
And then you have to keep it up. Like, you have to manage all of these stories in your head. It's sort of no wonder that you and I became writers. But I think that that's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of ADHDers are creatives for that
Yes.
reason. I mean, I know that there's a huge portion of them who do land in that, partly also because it's hard to keep grades up and stuff because our attention is like I could get super high scores in a math class, for instance, if
Mhm.
I loved the teacher and his teaching style and he made it interesting and relevant to me. But then the whole rest of the time I could fail it all. Like,
Yeah.
and people would be like, what happened? You were like testing super high here and now.
Great on the tests, but homework,
Mm,
what's homework?
oh gosh, I excelled at last minute homework. It was a major talent of mine. I could get A's on stuff and that I just did like in an hour before bed. But then, of course, you're completely ill prepared to deal with life
Mhm.
because university and life can't actually be procrastinated to the last minute and count on getting those A's.
Exactly.
Kind of crazy. I'm sorry, I have taken us way off topic. Um, so let's rein it in. That's me and my craziness. This is ADHD for you. Um, but I'm excited to read this book because as an old lady, I am finally learning about these things and it's giving me a different perspective on my own childhood
Yes.
and it's very healing in a way.
Maybe I wasn't lazy
Yeah, or stupid. I've
or
spent my
stupid.
entire
Mhm.
life and I would be confused by my own stupidness because
Mhm.
sometimes I was brilliant. And then how do I reconcile all of the other proof that I'm stupid?
Yeah.
So,
I think
it,
misclassified could be healing for adults. And in fact, I had one woman read it, a friend of mine, and she was so not ADHD. And she was like, I was getting so mad at her until the end. And then it was like, oh.
she's
So
got it.
I think it's also, besides being healing for us and understanding for kids one way or the other, I think some adults are going to come away with a new understanding of
Yeah.
what their kids or their neighbors' kids are going through.
Yeah. We really need to get this book. Like, I hope some therapists and psychologists are listening to this
Yeah.
program because it sounds like this would be a wonderful book to just kind of have in your back pocket that if you have a patient or even a friend or a friend's child come across your path, it it sounds like this would be a wonderful thing to slip into their lives. So,
I
um,
totally agree.
okay, let's make it happen, everyone. I want to hear that you have now added this book to your bookshelf in your office, your therapy office, or wherever, so that you can recommend that your girls and boys who come in, or the moms who are at their wits' end because they don't know what to do with this ADHD child, to say,
Let them
hey,
have some light bulb moments.
here's a book for that might shed some light.
Mhm.
Very fun. So, we are here, of course, to talk about joy. And I kind of feel like what we've just been talking about, this sense of understanding and coming together in a way that feel seen and
Mhm.
understood, is for me a source of joy. Um, it's why I love talking to people because you never know what light bulb moments you're going to have in any given conversation. I have sat with Susan at lunch many times and had conversations with her, and I knew about her book, but I didn't know about her book. And so thank you for indulging me in that. So I want to know, Susan, because I know that you're a thoughtful person. How do you define joy?
When I think of that question, The first thing I think of is kind of an opposite feeling, the feeling of anger. And anger, probably a lot of people understand that anger is really more of a secondary emotion than a primary emotion. It comes from frustration, from jealousy, from fear. Those kind of negative feelings can then turn to anger. And I think joy to me is very similar. It's a secondary emotion where when you have something like these eye-opening, understanding moments, when you have discovery, in my writing, I think that's one area where I really find joy. Is I'm a discovery writer, the kind that just sits down and I don't know what I'm going to write, and I start writing. Outlines, just make smoke come out of my ears.
Right.
So discovering when a character all of a sudden tells me, the writer, something I didn't know.
It's a miracle, isn't it? It
It's
feels
a
like
miracle, and it brings joy. And I think faith can bring joy. I think love of family can bring joy. I think even fun, when it's good, clean fun, can bring a secondary feeling of joy. So that to me is what I would compare it to, is a secondary feeling in the same way that anger is a secondary negative feeling.
Yeah. It makes me, I don't have it accessible right at this moment, but have you seen the emotion wheel?
No.
Okay. If I'll add it to the show notes in case anyone's interested in checking it out. It's a tool. I believe it was developed in like along with positive psychology and cognitive behavioral therapy and such. But it demonstrates that it's almost like a color wheel, but it's how it's a way of understanding how you can arrive at anger, for instance, through all of these sort of minor feelings. So somebody could say they're angry, but you can't really deal with anger. How do you fix or heal anger? So, but it's usually the sort of larger feeling that gives the name to these smaller feelings that are actually at the heart of why we feel anger. And I wonder, I need to go look at the wheel, because I wonder if joy is represented like that, because I like that concept. That makes a lot of sense to me, because for me, joy is like, I always do this. I don't know what this, like this symbol or sign to me, it's like, because you can live a life of joy, even though every moment is not perfect, and long stretches of your life may not be perfect, but you can be doing things, and things can happen in your life that can lead to this sense of joy. So that makes so much sense to me. And now I've got to go look up that thing, and I wish I had it right handy. But
and when I discovered it, it brought me joy.
Well, because it feels right. So you touched a little bit on where you find joy in your writing. Being a discovery writer, I'm sure, is very. You have to almost be in a state of joy, that kind of flow, that kind of connection to the ether or whatever, where your story is just pouring through you. But how else, or tell us more about where you find joy in your writing?
First of all, what you say about the ether. Okay, you've mentioned I was an actress, and I consider acting and writing like cross training. And I think the actor in me finds the character very easily because that's what I'm used to doing in scripts. And so I think that that's kind of what's flowing through me, is feeling like I'm in the shoes of that character, which then makes voice one of my easier things to find. There's other things that maybe I need my second and third and fourth and 18th draft to do, but anyway, that's kind of and that's joyful to me too, because I'm learning about this new person that I didn't know before.
Yeah.
So that brings me joy. Having somebody accept my work brings me great joy.
And to be requested, to be asked to produce a screenplay. I mean, the artist in me is like, I want that, because we all want that, right? Like to be wanted and to have our work recognized as desirable. That's very exciting. That feels so good. So,
and
what
when
else? Tell us more.
Okay. I heard of a girl who read my book, and I think I've got the quote on my website, which is still kind of a work in progress. That she was just laughing with joy about reading my book.
Oh.
And telling her friends little stories from it, and it was so fun to hear that somebody else got joy from my work, something I had done.
Yeah. Makes me teary just thinking, like, because I can feel that, like, that feels like such a happy thing. And how cool that you can do a thing that makes you feel joy. You're feeling that when you're channeling that character and discovering them. And like you said, it's so much is just like meeting someone new. And then to have that joy reflected back at you almost when someone shares with you their experience in reading your book. Like it's, joy 2 times. That's exquisite.
The circle of joy.
Yeah. I think we've just come up with something new. I love it. We should just keep it going. Keep that circle of joy going. This has been such a wonderful conversation, Susan. I've loved how you've opened my eyes to the way that I think about joy, but also the feelings and the things that go toward a life of joy. But I love that. What was I going to say? You have made me feel excited to go back to my work in progress to write some more, because
we're working on that circle of joy some more.
Yeah, because I'm one who's sort of I've lost some of my joy for writing because I've gotten bogged down in the shoulds and the things that are required of me. And I think it's time, but I have had that experience that you talked about. And so thank you for helping me remember that beautiful feeling and to want to go find it again.
You're very welcome. And thank you for listening to me talk about my book, because, I always love talking about it. It's fun to have somebody who wants to listen.
Yeah. And I'm excited for it and the good that it can do. And like I said, I'm totally going to go read it, and I hope everyone else does as well. And I look forward to seeing what else you come up with, because it sounds like you're just letting yourself write and do those things that bring you joy.
Yes, very true.
That's wonderful.
Can write to, I can and have written to what somebody else wants me to write, but it's in some ways it's easier to do that because you know what you're writing, but in other ways it's a lot more fun where, to write what you have in your head.
I agree. I feel like this is a wonderful place to end. But Do you have anything else you would like to share with the listeners before we say goodbye?
Um, well, I guess if people are interested in some of the things I've acted in,
Oh, yeah.
um, two things you could find probably. There's one that's usually available somewhere on Prime or something else called You're So Cupid. And it's a teen comedy romance. And then there's a Lifetime Christmas movie called Hot Chocolate Holiday
Ooh.
that I could very well play every year on Lifetime. I really don't know,
Uh-huh.
what Lifetime's plans are with it, but I know it's played several times.
Okay, wait, tell us the hot chocolate one again.
Hot Chocolate Holiday
Okay.
and
All right.
You're So Cupid.
I will do my best to link those in the show notes as well. Um, and I'm grateful that you said that because I was thinking that for sure people would hear that you're an actor and go, well, what has she been in? So thank you for answering that question. I forgot to ask.
No worries.
Thank you so much for being here with me today, Susan. It's been so nice to get to know you a little better.
It's been
And
fun to chat, Allie. Thank you.
you're welcome. And everyone, please do go check out the show notes, find where you can follow this wonderful woman and support her in her work. I hope in the meantime, until we're back next week, that you feel inspired to go out and find your joy because it is all around us. It may be in your own life right now. It just needs you to open your eyes and recognize it. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you back next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks again.